Whether you love it or hate it, Universes Beyond is here to stay. Or continue. After Universes Beyond, The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth was Magic's most successful set last year, and as of August, its second best-selling set of all time behind Modern Horizons 2, WotC have the evidence that giving other established IPs the MTG treatment is a winning formula for bringing new players to the game and giving existing players something to be excited about. And money! Having seen the initial reviews, and picking up a few cheeky items myself, Universes Beyond Fallout brings another well-loved franchise to the game, with new card designs oozing with flavour, as well as plenty of great reprints with new art to fit the Fallout universe. With every new entry to the Universes Beyond range of products, the potential for wilder and wilder storytelling in Commander games increases. While we as players can have a habit of focusing purely on the mechanical value of cards when building for decks, and while this is important, there's so much room in the fun-driven format that is EDH to create crazy, winding narratives that play out as we play our decks. While we can often forget who won or lost any given game, it's the stories of ridiculous interactions that we remember. And as more stories and characters are brought into the game, as well as flavorful mechanics, why should our tall tales of games past be limited to just the words on the cards? So today I thought we'd take a trip down Universes Beyond memory lane, looking at some of the most designs we've had so far, in terms of how character is both created and translated mechanically. But before we do, YouTube user Starmander88 left this comment on my last video, asking what the card in the frame behind me is. It is in fact a Japanese copy of Opposition from Dominaria Remastered that my roommate got for me as a souvenir on a trip to Tokyo not long after I initially moved in. And it was such a sweet gift that when I started making content, and more specifically in this room, I knew it had to live in the background somewhere. Thanks for the question and watching the channel. I appreciate you. So let's go back all the way to the beginning, before the Universes Beyond label even existed, to the Secret Lair X The Walking Dead drop, which contained 5 new card designs featuring Rick, Daryl, Glenn, Michonne, and Negan from the show. This set of cards most recently received the Universes Within treatment, good news for people who hate other IPs on their Magic cards, in Wilds of Eldraine, potentially appearing in set and collector boosters in the list slot. It was in one of these very set boosters that I found Malik Grim Manipulator, the in-universe version of Negan, and I was smitten. Quickly pulling together my first Mardu list for the love of the minigame. This is my clear pick for the best flavour of the release, as well as the most fun mechanic for the social format that is Commander. When Negan enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent. Then you and that opponent each secretly choose a creature they control. After this, the choices are revealed, and those creatures are sacrificed, with Negan carrying the added benefit of creating a treasure token whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature. It's deeply fitting with Negan's twisted game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo that introduces him in the series, as well as subtly acknowledging the difference in how this scene played out in the comics and the adaptation, with the possibility for 1 or 2 creatures being sacrificed, depending on each player's choice. This is definitely one of my favourite designs to originate from Universes Beyond, and I love introducing the minigame to tables that haven't seen it before. The loss may be only 1 or 2 of your creatures, but the psychological damage is permanent. Moving on to the next Universes Beyond Secret Lair drop, we have the 9 original card designs that were released in Secret Lair X Stranger Things. This set of designs was the first to be printed in Universe Within, in Streets of New Capenna. Right off the bat, we got a flavorful new partner mechanic with Friends Forever. Not so sure about Hopper being included in this, but fair dues, which offers us a huge amount of options in color combinations for deck building, with all of these cards having 2 or more colors in their color identity. For favorite theming among these cards, my choice has to be Lucas the Sharpshooter, which has the ability to deal 1 damage to a creature and goad it in exchange for tapping Lucas and sacrificing an artifact. While it's perhaps not the most potent ability in the world, though it could be great for controlling others' board states with equipment like Gorgon's Head or Basilisk Collar, the mechanical portrayal of a child with a slingshot is great here. If you have a healthy source of artifact production with treasures, clues, or food, or junk, or power stones, or maps, or artifact recursion like that from Duretti Scrap Savant, you can create a fairly potent goad engine by enchanting Lucas with Pemin's Aura or Freed from the Real to untap him and use his ability multiple times per turn. Be the shitheel kid you always wanted to be. We're now jumping forward chronologically to the Secret Lair X Street Fighter drop, as neither of the Arcane or Fortnite releases offered original designs, instead offering reprints with new art. These cards got their Universes Within run in Phyrexia or Will Be One. I've seen a lot of love for these designs recently, particularly Ken Burning Brawler / Aisha of Sparks and Smoke. And it's well deserved, with plenty of great mechanics to be found here. Personally, it's got to be E Honda Sumo Champion that wins in terms of design, particularly for the ability 100 Hand Slap, where when he attacks, up to 100 creatures get +0/+X until end of turn, with X being the number of cards in your hand. I love these sorts of effects, particularly for the nostalgia it gives me for a pet card from when I started playing Magic, 100-handed one. But it's also not an unreasonable threshold to set given how crazy board states can get in Commander. All of the Transformers cards have immediate flavor wins by 1, transforming, and 2, having living metal in their non-bot forms. It is Slicer Hired Muscle / Slicer High Speed Antagonist, however, that always seems to cause the most chaos at tables, particularly in the command zone. Him having Double Strike and Haste, as well as having the ability to be put under other players' control and becoming goaded, perfectly fits his character traits of being violent, short-tempered with allies and enemies alike, and being stuck with a French accent after landing in Toulon and sustaining damage to his control unit? I'm gonna skim over the Honor Among Thieves Universes Beyond Secret Lair, because WotC owns D&D, we've otherwise seen the Forgotten Realms depicted in a Magic set, and I honestly forgot about it until I got to the end of this script. So, Fat Dragon. That is all. We've made it to our first full set of Universes Beyond cards, with the release of Universes Beyond Warhammer 40k in 2022. This was the first Magic product I bought in years, my introduction to the Commander format, and my reintroduction to this game I hadn't played for so long. We of course got a slew of flavor with these decks, as well as some amazing new card designs. I particularly loved the portrayal of lore events using sagas, with one original saga design being created for each faction. I love loss prevention effects. They very rarely pay off, but they make for amazing Commander BS. It's also fantastic theming on the Golden Throne, which has the ability Arcane Life Support, where if you would lose the game, you instead exile the Golden Throne, and your life total becomes 1. Really, Arcane Life Support is a bonus on top of its equally flavorful second ability of sacrificing a creature and tapping to make 3 mana in any combination of colors, referring to the Astronomicon, the psychic beacon directed by the mortally wounded Emperor of Mankind from the throne, which is powered by the life force of the Chosen, a specially selected collective of Psykers 10,000 strong, of which up to 1,000 die every solar day. Without this, the Imperium of Man would be unable to navigate the chaos of the war, making long-range faster-than-light travel and the survival of the Imperium impossible. For more delicious card design, we've got everyone's favorite 3-armed alien cowboy, Gearson Starn Kellermorph, and his ability, 3 auto stubs, which deals 2 additional damage to any permanent or player that is dealt exactly 1 damage by a source you control. Bang! Bang bang! And flavor isn't just limited to legendary characters and artifacts. For another nugget, we can look to the sorcery Blight Grenade, which depicts the exceptional losses and collateral damage of war in the 41st millennium by destroying 1 target creature and giving all others -3/-3 until end of turn. While some might say this is an oversimplification of the improvised explosives crafted from the infected craniums of the fallen, It is a great narrative layer for something as commonplace in Magic as a board wipe. Our Universes Beyond journey continues to Tolkien's Middle-earth, and the largest set of this kind, boasting a full product range and draft environment alongside the normal Universes Beyond commander decks. While this world is expansive and rife with stories to depict, it could be argued that some characters were stretched to fill the set, with multiple Gandalfs, Saurons, and even Shelobs appearing. With this set, we got a wonderfully themed take on exceeding single card deck limits with Nazgul, allowing for up to 9 copies in a deck, as well as releasing with 9 unique arts, one for each of the ring wraiths. They have Death Touch, a reference to their toxic aura, the Black Breath. Their appearance coincides with that of the ring, causing the ring to tempt you when they enter the battlefield, and their power grows with its influence, gaining a +1/+1 counter each time this happens. Bilbo, Birthday Celebrant, depicts the journeyed hobbit on his 11th birthday, and offers us the opportunity to invite all the creatures in our deck to the party if we reach the threshold of 111 life. He also helps us a little bit in this pursuit by increasing all of our life gain by 1. This design also echoes his trick of disappearing with the ring at the party by exiling himself as part of this ability's cost. We see the corrupting influence of the artifact through black being included in his color identity. And what would Lord of the Rings be without the One Ring itself? When it's not warping metagames and costing north of £50 on the singles market, it's boasting great thematic design, making the caster invisible when it enters by providing protection from everything until their next turn, and offering greater and greater power in the form of card draw at growing risk to the user as they lose more and more life for every burden counter it accumulates. It's also indestructible, which obviously created its own set of issues for the Fellowship. While Flavour may not always lead to the most powerful card designs, the One Ring definitely proves that the two aren't mutually exclusive, providing a very good trade-off of life loss for card advantage. While smaller on the inside than the release for Tales of Middle-earth, WotC seemed to settle on a working model for the majority of Universes Beyond sets with Doctor Who, releasing collector boosters alongside the 4 commander decks. Just kidding! The Master Multiplied brought us an awesome addendum to Myriad, preventing us from putting the token copies created in the graveyard by making the legend rule not apply, and preventing triggered abilities from causing us to sacrifice or exile token creatures we control. This beautifully mirrors the creation of the Master Race in the 2-part episode The End of Time. John Sim is everyone, and everyone in the world is John Sim. Moving on to another Time Lord rogue, River Song's design depicts the, by and large, backwards chronology of her and the Doctor's meetings by having you draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than the top. Her second ability carries her catchphrase, spoilers, and makes reference to the temporal paradoxes that could arise were the Doctor to learn details about his future, gaining power and dealing damage to opponents whenever they scry, surveil, or search their libraries. No peeking. Rounding off my Flavour favourites from Doctor Who, we're looking at the iconic Weeping Angel, which first appeared in the 2007 episode Blink. These statuesque antagonists become quantum-locked when observed, and appropriately cease to be creatures until the end of turn whenever an opponent casts a creature spell. Their ability to move imperceptibly fast otherwise is depicted by them having flash, as well as first strike, and any combat damage that would be dealt by them to a creature is prevented, with the recipient instead being shuffled into its owner's library, showing that their attacks transport their victims to another time period, rather than outright killing them. Slotting in between the most recent Universes Beyond commander sets, we had the set of Jurassic Park cards that appeared in Lost Caverns of Ixalan boosters. Tokens are cards, right? I'm a big fan of the fresh take on a board wipe that we got with Don't Move, which destroys all tapped creatures, and any creatures that tap from when it resolves until your next turn. It's a nice nod to the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and offers up some potential shenanigans with cards like Derevi Imperial Tactician and Tamio Field Researcher. And here we are, the latest and dare I say greatest Universes Beyond, Fallout. This has definitely been my most anticipated crossover set since it was announced, and seeing so many characters, events, and items from the game depicted in magic form has made me a little giddy. Though that might be the radiation. Sagas have again been used to great effect in this set to depict the stories that unfolded in the vaults, nuclear shelters which offered members of the public refuge from the bombs, while acting as the staging grounds for the often questionable experimentation of Vault tech. Vault 101 Birthday Party depicts the opening of the first-person installation in the series, Fallout 3, where the player character, the Lone Wanderer, comes of age, shown through the creation of a 1/1 human soldier creature token and a food token in the first step. Delicious cake! Steps 2 and 3 let us put an aura or equipment from our graveyard or hand onto the battlefield. Then, if an equipment is put onto the battlefield this way, equip it to a creature we control. This corresponds to the player receiving 2 items as gifts: their Pip-Boy, which stays with them for the rest of the game, and the BB gun, which probably doesn't, unless you're particularly sentimental with your inventory and or a masochist. From my favourite entry in the series, Fallout New Vegas, we have the ever-helpful and worryingly accommodating yes-man personal Securitron. His access to Mr. House's systems and the tactical information on all factions present on the New Vegas strip held within offers immense value and power, which the player character, the Courier, can utilise to take sole control of the strip for themselves, should they choose. This is another card that makes its way around the table, and this perfectly depicts Yes Man's programmed inability to decline any instruction or withhold any information from anyone, providing power in the form of card draw and ever-growing influence to his owner with each exchange, creating a tapped 1/1 soldier creature token for each quest counter on it when it leaves the battlefield. For the last plate of this Universes Beyond taster menu, I chose Reconcraft Theta, the Zayton scout ship that can be found crashed in Fallout 3 alongside the body of its pilot. RIP Alien. It's a simple design, but one I was excited to see depicted in the set, creating a 0/0 alien creature token when it enters, which then receives a +1/+1 counter, and when Reconcraft Theta attacks, you proliferate, referring to the large amounts of radiation that emanate from the craft when it's found in-game. Some designs in the Mutant Menace deck put across this theme more directly by actively giving players the newly introduced rad counters, but it's a nice support piece in a very fun list. I'm really loving the Fallout set so far, and am looking forward to collecting and playing with it more. I do wish we got a card for the Toaster from Old World Blues, but you can't win them all, huh? The designers at Wizards clearly put a lot of time and attention into creating designs that feel true to the characters, items, and events that they choose to depict on their cards. And this isn't limited to Universes Beyond. With every in-universe set that releases, there are countless original creations that are brought to life, and often reimagined, through the mechanics that translate them into game pieces. While worlds like that of Lord of the Rings may have always felt closer to the original fancy presentation of magic than the post-apocalyptic wastes of Fallout or grim-dark conflict of the future in Warhammer 40k, the narrative span of magic grows wider every year, with new planes being introduced all the time. Streets of New Capenna brought us a 20th century world of glamour and gangsters, while the reimagining of Kamigawa in Neon Dynasty propelled its setting well into the future. While Universes Beyond is not to everyone's taste, and understandably so with the rate of acceleration these sets have even seen since 2022, I think there's a joy to be taken in the inherent silliness of the stories our decks can now tell, creating the most insane crossovers possible on a shared battlefield. These wild improbabilities are even present internally within the sets as designed, and if the idea of a reporter teaming up with the Mothman to take down a maniacal libertarian on life support doesn't bring a smile to your face like it does mine, I don't know what to tell you. So, when you're next slinging spells, try and take a second to appreciate the stories you're telling in between the interaction. Consider the story that you yourself wrote through the list you put together, and how that yarn unravels and weaves with the others at the table. Above all, treasure the stories you write every time you play a great game with great company, and will no doubt look back on fondly in years to come. And yes, the blow of a loss gets softer with time. Let me know in the comments below some of your favourite flavorful designs from across Magic's history, both in and out of universe, and any mad narratives that might have emerged in your decks and how they play out in game. Thanks as always for watching, and if you give me a +1/+1 and like and subscribe, if it's the third time it's resolved this turn, they'll all be removed, and I'll deal that much damage to each creature and player. See you next time.